Hey, welcome to my channel. I'm Elma. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. You've seen it from the title. We're going to be tackling another top 5, and this to me is a really important top 5. Neutral, brown, tone, nude palette. It's an essential. It's super basic, but it stays an essential. So if you want to know what my top 5 neutral palettes are, keep on watching. Also, you keep on coming back. You keep on watching my stuff. You're not yet subscribed. Why? I'm gonna wait just a little bit till you hit that subscribe button. And also, if by the end of this video it was really interesting, don't forget to like as well, okay? Let's cue the intro.
I gotta tell you something I could do.
Listen, as much as I like a colorful look, let's be real. Neutrals, browns, soft glam, that's truly where it's at for me. And I have a couple gems here. Unfortunately, they're all high-end, but I think it's really important so you know where to put your money, right? So let's get right into it. I'm just gonna grab and go. And yeah, I'm gonna start off with the Natasha Denona Bronze palette. This palette is a soft glam dream, okay? It has all the browns you need, all the shimmers you need, and it has also really beautiful pops of deep color, which I find is always a plus in a neutral palette because it really enables you to have more of that versatility, and especially with like darker tones, you can easily go from day to night. That's usually why we keep these around, right? Because you want something to just put on the lid, but when you have that extra little pop of shimmer or that extra little pop of like a dark color, I find that that really elevates a palette. And there's something to be said about Natasha Denona's formula. If you want a full thorough review of this palette where I fully try it on, I actually have like I think 2 or 3 looks in that video. I'll leave it up here in the card so you can definitely check it out. But this is one of those palettes that if you want to try Natasha Denona but you're not ready to invest in a $175 palette, I find that even though expensive, don't get me wrong, it's not a cheap palette, I do find it's a nice way to get introduced to Natasha Denona formula. And this especially I find will be really worth your buck because of course it's a neutral palette. It's something you can use all the time, that you can have on the go. Also, it comes with a big ass mirror and the palette itself is very sturdy, so that is something I really like. So when you're paying for this, not only are you paying for an amazing formula, you're also paying for really good packaging, because there's nothing more annoying than buying an expensive palette with flimsy packaging. That to me is always a, you know, I just like no. But this palette is so beautiful. As you can see from the swatches, you really get some beautiful shimmers in there, some really beautiful browns. And I find like, especially, you know, because, you know, I'm brown and, you know, medium tan skin tone, this shows up on your skin and it's beautiful. And also the formula, it's just like butter. So for me, the Natasha Denona Bronze palette is really one to check out if you want to get your toes into the Natasha Denona pond. Did that sound nasty? We're talking nudes anyways. So the next palette I'm gonna be talking about, I want to say that it's the no shade to Urban Decay, but I feel like it's the elevated version of the Naked palette in the sense that it shows up on melaninated skin, okay? When it comes to Melt Cosmetics and the formula of their eyeshadows, you either love it or you hate it. I happen to be one of those who love it. I don't think that it is the easiest formula if you are a novice, but when you know what you're doing, you're just gonna, like, I have a couple of Melt palettes and I just, there's something about it. And the Rust palette is one of those that I think that if you want to try Melt, get the Rust palette. It's everything you need to be the baddest neutral basic babe in town. The eyeshadow formula on this is super duper pigmented. Also visually, there are so many options with all these types of browns. And what I love about the browns in this is, unlike, let's say, the Naked palette, the like original and the, I guess, subsequent ones, except maybe the Heat, I think it is, these are truly warm. So if like me, you have a warm warm undertone. This is not gonna look casket ready on you at all. It's really rich in brownness, in warmness, and you can create so many looks. Actually, in the corner here, I use the color Rust. It's one of those that's like really good, and it's just one of those that are really, really beautiful. So whether you're fair or you have deeper skin tone, this will show up. The thing about all these palettes that I'm going to be talking about is that they do show up on deeper skin tones, and I think it's very important if you call yourself a warm neutral, because for a very long time, whatever was called nude, you know, neutral, was most often ashy, and anybody with a little bit of melanin and some warmth in their skin were just left out of the equation, which I find really unfair. But the Rust palette does not do that at all, so I highly recommend this palette if you're into warm neutral looks. And also, there are only 3 shimmers in here, and most of them are mattes, and their mattes are just so freaking creamy, and the shimmer is like a moment to just appreciate this. I don't know what type of swatch this was, but look at that. It's just so rich, so buttery, and very nude. I love this so much. So the Rust palette from Melt is definitely one to check. Next, I feel like I cannot do this video without mentioning this palette, even though it was limited edition. I checked for the sake of this video, it is available on Beauty Bay, so definitely check it out there. Do I feel two ways about recommending this brand? A little bit, because I find that they were like a little bit they've been low-key shady, okay? However, they brought us the one and only Jackie Aina palette. Like, need I say more? I know it has pops of colors in here, okay? I know it does. I know that it doesn't necessarily follow the brownness of the Rust or the bronze palette from Natasha Denona, but I still consider this a warm neutral palette, because this specifically for melanated babes, come on, this is the best damn thing, in my humble opinion, that ever came out from ABH. Do you hear a lie? Need I say more? You know, we all know ABH formula is really good, but something happened. I think it was after the Riviera palette that just, there was a little switch in the formula. There was something that happened, some butteriness that happened. It landed us the Jackie Aina, the ABH x Jackie Aina palette. And there's something to be said about the like edges, ginger, credit, like la base, okay? It is the base of everything. This palette, I grab onto it like no man's business. Like, if something ain't going right, most definitely I'm grabbing this palette, because it is so versatile. It shows up on every skin tone, and like the shimmers to please, and the mattes, they just, I swear these swatches are so shit. And the mattes are just, look at that. Do you feel that pigmentation coming through the screen? Come on now. So yes, I do consider the ABH x Jackie Aina palette a neutral palette, and it's one that I highly recommend. If you haven't gotten it and you're still hesitating, before this disappears from existence, do yourself a favor. Get it. Next off, in the same lines of neutral palettes but with pops of color, I know it's very controversial, but still, I still consider this a neutral warm tone palette, and I cannot find it on Sephora. I don't know if it's on your website. I don't know what's going on with this brand, in all honesty. Like, recently, I don't know, Urban Decay, what's up? Because they came out with a gem of a palette, the Born to Run, and they just dipped on us and came back with all this Naked Honey and all that, and I'm just like, why? Because this palette, although with a nice range of color, I still consider a warm neutral palette, because one, it shows up on melanated skin. Listen, this palette is the most underrated palette ever. I don't know why nobody is ever talking about this palette, because honestly speaking, it's the best damn thing. You can create so many looks with this, and also the matte formula in this, the shimmer in this, like, can we even like the mattes, like, look at this, so rich, so pigmented, and so versatile. I find that these palettes kind of come in the same category in the sense that if you're not into like super colorful palettes, like, you know, ultra pink palette or ultra blue palette or ultra, I don't know, mauve palette, this is a nice way to, you know, dip your toe into that sort of lifestyle. You know, it's like you're there but you're still holding on to, you know, your warm, your neutrals and all that. This is why I put this palette in this list, is because of that. It's so versatile, but you can still feel comfortable and not intimidated by the amount of color you see on here, because formula in this is very easy to use. It blends like a dream. It's fairly pigmented but still buildable, unlike the Rust palette where I find you have to go in a little bit more light-handed because it's super pigmented. This one you have some margin to, I guess, mess up, build up your colors, but it's not so hard that it's taking forever to build up color. I don't know if I'm making sense, and I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you are, please like this video. So yes, the Born to Run palette is amazing. I'll try and link it. By the way, all the palettes I'm talking about will be linked in the description box. Full disclosure, some of those links are affiliate, meaning that it helps me make money. So please buy through my links. Thank you very much. So yeah, this palette is really one to check out. Last but definitely not least, the Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals palette volume 1. Listen, I do not put this palette in my top 5 lightly. Actually, I thoroughly enjoy this palette. The concept behind this palette to me is pure genius. Does it pain me that it comes with a hip ton of drama and that I fear for this brand? Yeah, I do, but at the same time, low-key, high-key saw it come in the minute she started hanging out with Jafar. I was just like, really Tati? I didn't get it. Anyway, that's for another video. If you want me to give you my 2 cents about the beauty community, drop a comment below. But the Textured Neutral palette is pure genius. If you're into neutrals, if you're into, like, when I saw this palette, I knew I wanted it simply because of the concept of it. Listen, you have 6 colors in 4 different formulas in one palette. If this is not a neutral palette's wet dream, honestly I don't know what is. The eyeshadows are so pigmented, okay? Be it the matte or the sequin or the metallic or the glitter. This just melts like butter, okay? It just blends like a dream. It shows up and shows out. Let me zoom you guys in a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. Do you see this little shimmerness that's going on my eye? You see that? It's this. It's the sequin formula of these, like this one actually, Aura. Can you focus? Just... Drama aside, this palette is just amazing. And on that note, there they are, my top 5 neutral palettes. Do you need all of these? Definitely not. You can do away with just one, but these are 5 that I really enjoy, that I go back to always. The look I'm rocking right now, I'm gonna have a little reel thing going on my Instagram, so definitely check me on there at A Rose Addiction. I have reels and, you know, pictures and all that good stuff, and the stories, always sharing what I'm cooking. If you're into food or whatever, you know, you can give me a little follow on Instagram. But yeah, these are my top 5 warm tone neutral palettes. What are yours? Like, what warm tone palette is your jam, please drop it in the comment section below. Who knows, I might be checking it out. There are definitely others out there, but these are definitely those that if you told me, okay, which one should you get, I would say take a pick in this little list. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. There are a couple of videos that just popped up on the screen. Definitely check them out, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that already. Come on now, you know you want to. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye!